Welcome to Life Beyond Clinical Practice.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Life Beyond Clinical Practice. I'm your host, Dr. Diane, and today we're diving into episode 5 of the Awakening series entitled When Passion and Profession No Longer Align. Now, if you've just found us, I want to invite you to go back to episode 1 of the Awakening series, which we started in the second week of January, because the series is really intended to be sequential and to help you to process the thoughts, feelings, emotions that perhaps you've been sitting with for a long time. And through a deep dive into what it means to live authentically, my hope is that this series will awaken within you a renewed passion to pursue a purpose-centered and fulfilling career. Today, we're going to name the quiet loss. And we're going to talk about the grief that comes with owning up to your professional discontent or misalignment. So before we begin, I want to just state that this episode may feel heavier than the last few. Not because anything is wrong, but because we're touching something tender. There's a kind of loss many health professionals quietly carry. One that doesn't come with rituals or recognition. One we're really taught how to grieve. It's the grief of realizing that work you once loved no longer fits who you are now. And if that's where you find yourself, feeling sad, conflicted, or emotionally tired without knowing why, I want you to know this doesn't mean you failed. It simply means something's shifted. Now, grieving a career you're still in is real. Because truth is, so many of us find ourselves in the position where the role we once chose with intention and served in with passion, a profession you invested many years of your life in terms of training and practice in, a version of yourself that once made you feel proud, aligned, alive. Well, when that version no longer exists, career grief can show up quietly as a heaviness you simply can't explain or put words to. Perhaps as nostalgia for who you used to be at work, the version of yourself that showed up energized and excited about the day's work. But now you sit with the sadness that surprises you, even when things look fine from the outside. A heaviness. This grief isn't about the work itself. It is about identity. It's about belonging. Because the meaning you once derived from that work, from being that professional, from that identity, has shifted. And here's something important for you to hear. This grief doesn't mean your choice was wrong. It means the choice mattered at the time, but it may not matter into your future. So why do we resist this grief? Because most clinicians aren't taught how to sit with career grief. We're trained to manage it, much like we're trained to manage other crises. So we override the feelings and emotions. We move past that niggling sensation of something needs to change because grief simply feels impractical. It's inconvenient. We simply cannot indulge those thoughts and feelings because we have to be practical and responsible. So instead of feeling what our intuition and what life is trying to tell us, we often try to outthink it. We rationalize, and we're so good at doing it. We push harder, hoping something's going to turn out more positively. And we look for the next plan without really deep diving into our inner self. But it's so important to stop, reflect internally, and honor what's ending. Because what we don't grieve, we carry. We carry it as fatigue, as disengagement, as quiet resentment we don't want to admit to anyone. And grief doesn't disappear when ignored. It just waits, silently waiting for you to acknowledge and process it and do the work to heal and move forward. So today, here's what I want to offer you. You are allowed to hold both. You can feel grateful and grieve. You can respect the path you chose and acknowledge that it no longer fits. You can love what this work once gave you and still feel ready for something different. You don't have to betray who you were, but you do need to honor who you're becoming. Grief doesn't ask you to make decisions today. It simply asks to be acknowledged. And when you allow it, something softens. The pressure to have answers eases. The inner conflict quiets. And clarity begins to form. Not from urgency, but from truth. When grief is welcomed, not resisted, it becomes a doorway. Not to endings alone, but to self-respect. It restores honesty with yourself. It reconnects you to meaning. It clears space for your desire to emerge without guilt. So this isn't about closure yet. It's simply about coherence. Letting your inner world tell the truth before your outer life changes. So again, I'm going to leave you with something to sit with. Ask yourself this week, what part of your work are you quietly grieving? And what did this path once give you that mattered deeply? You don't need to answer it out loud. Just notice what surfaces when you ask yourself those questions. So if you're feeling heavy after this episode, it's not a sign that you're unraveling. It's a sign that you are listening and paying attention to what you've been trying to ignore. In the next episode of the Awakening series, we'll talk about something that often follows grief: the permission to want more. Not more in a restless way, but more in an honest one. So until then, be gentle with yourself. Because grief doesn't mean you're lost or that you've lost in this game of life. It means you care about what your future looks like. And caring is what makes awakening possible. And I'm here to walk the pivot journey with you and help you get clarity on what the next phase of your life and career should look like. As we close, if this episode is stirring questions about you that you really need to talk to someone about, why not book a clarity call with me? Let's sit down one-to-one and help you process those thoughts and emotions or reflections that can move you in the direction of authenticity, owning how you feel and openly declaring what you want for the next phase of your professional life. Remember, you're not falling apart. You're functioning, okay? But fulfillment has faded. And now it's time to plan what's next and what's right for you. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Life Beyond Clinical Practice. And until next time, take care of yourself. Goodbye.